Hello. Hi. How's everybody? I'm Danny. You are you. We are we. Us are us. That's probably the weirdest intro hello I've ever made. But at least in this video, you won't be seeing my big butt jumping up and getting stuff in the background or turning off fake fireplaces or anything like that. I want to talk about the importance of acknowledging the shift that we're in. Lots of people are waking up. Can you tell? Have you been able to tell? Has anybody been feeling like moods are super duper duper high and super duper duper low and then high and low and then it's like, whoa! It's like tsunamis of emotions and yet like feeling great and then all over the place. What am I doing with my life next? Anybody experiencing that? Well, so I've been talking about this stuff for a while. The importance and why I've been talking about this stuff for a while is because more and more and more and more people are starting to really pay attention because we're having experiences where people are feeling it. There's like no denying it. Okay? So now let's just talk about spiritual awakening. I'm going to talk about it in a real way so it makes sense. The body, the cells in the body hold information. DNA holds information. Okay? When we are in an acceleration period and heightened energy, everything is energy. Been talking about this for a long time. When the energy turns up, lower frequency things like self-doubt, fear, inner hate, anger, stuff like that, those emotions feel exaggerated because the energy's so high. So there's a contrast. The heart, these things that you're always like, yeah, festivals. Okay, these things are upgrading very, 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 very quickly. Okay? If we are holding all these different beliefs that are old school, if you're like carrying around a Prada bag from like 1900, it's not as cool as the one that just got made. No, that's like a weird analogy, but so it's really important to understand that the subconscious beliefs, the subconscious mind, the habitual mind, is needing to adapt and shift to the heightened frequencies and energies that are going on right now. Okay, so yes, it is like big waves. Okay, you're gonna have times of feeling really good and then times of like, what's going on? My body's tingling. And that may be a little unusual for you guys. Okay, I've been noticing and paying attention to the body tingling sensation since it first started when I was doing a bunch of drugs, doing a bunch of MDMA back in the late 1990s. I'm like, there's something to these tingling sensations. Okay. And then I started to look into that. And then I kept chasing what are those tingling sensations, even when I was sober. And I realized that when I think about wonderful things, my body tingles. When I think about beautiful things, loving things, forgiveness things, my body starts tingling, feels good. When I think about art, life, love, when I think about appreciation, my body starts tingling, okay? To the point where the last 3 days in a row, my body has been It's beyond tingling. Now what it does is it vibrates very deeply, very, very, very in a refined way where it's more like a, and I sound like a crazy person to anybody who has no idea what I'm talking about. But also, when your body's doing that, it's also shifting your DNA. Okay, you're basically tapped into a higher frequency. You're allowing that energy to move through your body to allow you to be in that more harmonized state with your heart. The awakening process, moving from the mind, which we've been in for thousands of years, the masculine mind, we're moving into the feminine heart. We're also moving from a carbon-based DNA and evolving into a crystalline-based DNA. Okay? When I say crystalline-based DNA, think about it in terms of shit's getting sparkly. Okay? Shit's getting hella sparkly, yo. Okay? So when everything is energy, everything is light and whatnot, how this gets moved down to translating into normal people talk is that your emotions, being in your mind, overanalyzing, being hard on yourself, things like that, they're actually not in alignment with being in your heart space, okay? So a good way to go about this is, how can you forgive yourself? How can you think about things in a beautiful, loving way, okay? How can we appreciate this lesson, this moment, and this time, so you can actually surf these big waves in a way that feels and is actually coming into your awareness in a lot more smoother ride. It's more so like you're actually surfing the wave rather than getting pummeled by it. I got pummeled as hell this morning. Whoa! And for me, it was like being in quicksand. My emotions and my thoughts kind of merge into one thing. And wasn't really thinking any thoughts. It was just that I was feeling like I could not do anything. And then it translated into, like, it was like the more I struggled, it was like floating into a quicksand, which made me, get in my mind and panic a little bit. But the more that I went there, the more, I felt like I was sinking. And so it was really kind of scary. Okay. But I'm doing great now, because this too shall pass. We all have these different experiences, but a good thing is to be reminded that we are purging this stuff. Like little weeds out of your garden getting purged by the sunlight that's coming in, by the plasma energy that's coming in. Okay, this is not woo-woo, pseudoscience. This is actually heliophysics, the way that the sun's electromagnetic fields, coronal holes, as well as coronal mass injections and whatnot, actually affect the electromagnetic field in the physical body. Now, what's cool is that the Earth is going through a big process too. Okay, I've been talking about this for a long, 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 long time. But as the Earth goes through this process, we go through this process because we're a part of it. Okay. The importance of purifying our system is huge. Highly recommending letting go of addictions. Highly recommending letting go, period. Starting a meditation practice. If you don't know of a good meditation, I have a free one on my website, theepichuman.com. It's right there. Okay. Start doing that in the morning. If you really want to feel better, start doing it at night also. It's like 15 minutes, if that. Okay. You're going to find yourself being forced, as if there are no other options but to take care of yourself. Okay? People who are much more energetically sensitive to these things are people who tend to not be doing a lot of, well, I won't say that. People who are more energetically sensitive to these things are going to find themselves being able to navigate it a little bit better. different people who are not paying attention. It's not because something's wrong with us. It's because there's different people at different different variances, and it doesn't mean that anybody is better than anybody else. I want to repeat that. No one is better than anybody else on this journey, okay? Everybody has their part. Everybody has their place. We all are in this together. There's something that is often misconstrued in the whole spiritual thing, is that the egos start running rampant. Somebody was referring to other people as being 3D people the other day, and I was like, no, that's not how we do. They're humans. We're humans. Nobody is this or that or better or not. We're all here working together as humanity on how to actually evolve. Okay. Now, so when we realize that we are all in this together, and you'll start noticing this the more you become in your heart and that heart awareness. The reason why I talk about forgiveness so much is because it's the most profound, easy, and most efficient way of letting go of the past so you can become present. Integrating that with a grounding meditation, just sitting down and just going, you know what, I forgive myself. I let go of those things, of those thoughts, of those old emotions that have been holding me back. I choose now in this moment to let go and surrender to the higher love that is available to me right now completely. Okay? So there's, there's so much going on, and I'm receiving a lot of information. There's lots to talk about. I also don't just want to keep on repeating myself. But just how have you guys been holding up? For those of you who are watching, how many of you, or this stuff is recently new to you, or where it's becoming more and more aware to you, where you're noticing that more and more people are offering meditation classes, more and more people are doing this sort of self-care? Are you guys noticing this? This is what's called awakening. More people are stepping into noticing the truth versus what's not true. And when we start focusing on truth and what's love, we break away from the outside mold of what society and what everything else has taught us, okay? And so when we start looking into and understanding that there's a truth that's beyond what we have always been taught, it can create a big, big, big little, sense of confusion, okay? So with, there's, truth always feels good, as Jennifer says, absolutely. And, so as being energetically sensitive, it's going to be a lot easier for you to understand what feels right and what does not. Don't believe everything that you're being told. I encourage you to be your own rebel, to break away, to do what you need to do, to defy what people tell you what to do, because you're not living for them, okay? Jacqueline's saying that feeling personal expansion and stepping into power, but it's painful. I've noticed a huge paradigm shift with people in general and talk about it all the time. Awesome. And there's, yeah, definitely don't believe everything that you think, especially if you're high. There is a huge expansion in personal power and stepping into your own personal power. A lot of that is personal to each and every individual. Okay, each person's power is completely different from another. We have the female, the feminine energies rising, which is beautiful. We have men who are embracing their feminine qualities, which is, I don't know, maybe me too. but we have this beautiful balance. It's a new kind of sexiness. It's a, standing up for yourself and making sure that other people are honored is the new power. Okay. Power isn't about like, let's conquer this and let's fight this. That's old. That's dissolving. It's breaking away. It's crumbling, and you can see evidence in it wherever you go. But what is important right now is this beautiful, hey, you know what? Let's stand strong in our truth. Let's stand strong in our receptivity. Let's stand strong in our emotional capabilities. And let's be nourishing. Let's be strong in the way that we can nourish ourselves and other people. Okay? Jennifer brings up a very big, important thing. Feeling the need to be very protective and discerning of who I give my energy to. Same. To the point where I thought I was turning into like the biggest introvert on the planet. But for real though, which avenues of your energy are you giving to, and is it reciprocal, or is it allowing you to expand into a higher refined, more beautiful essence of who you are? Okay. With a lot of these different aspects of, we have the internet, we have all these different social media things. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of like putting your stuff out there, but also even with friendships, relationships, jobs, different things just kind of falling apart that are not resonating with your newly evolved heart any longer. So sometimes it can create this space of feeling a little lonely. Okay, has anybody experienced the loneliness lately? Anyone? I have. But then I reframe loneliness into, this is a time for me to get to know what I want more. So the best thing to do is pick up a pen and go, what is it that you want? And to know that you do have permission to want new things. Okay. So the key is, when we get stuck in this loop of what is no longer here, that creates an illusion of separation, which causes suffering. Okay. That comes from that place of poverty consciousness, of I don't have, poverty consciousness. Okay. So if you feel that the fields are clearing and that you have all this open space and you're spending a lot of time with yourself, good. That means you have what I call the clean slate, where it's really time to set forth and start creating. What is it that you want? Conscious manifestation. If these were the people that you used to hang out with that no longer resonate with you, what type of people would? Where do they live? Where do they hang out? What types of things do they do? And go find meetup.com. Awesome. Check it out. Okay. So when we get into the space of, conscious creation, things are going to start happening very, very quickly. Okay. You put it out just the other day that, I needed some help with my business, and helping, getting some sort of guidance with my own work, with what my new goals are, and how to actually go about that. And so I just started writing down, what is it that I want? I'm like, I want some help. I want my help to be somebody to come in and go, okay, here's all the content you have. Here's all the stuff. Here's your goals, is what we need to do. And I got an email today. I started thinking about that like maybe a week ago. So things are happening very quickly. Okay. Well, and Nicole, sometimes we don't have a clean slate yet, and that's okay too. So then look into that, and what lessons are you learning, and what lessons do you need to be learned? Okay. So with the whole manifestation thing, really knowing how to manifest and really pull together, and to know that you are valuable, you are worthy to create a new reality that is no longer reflected of the past one. The energy that is here right now is so supportive of us doing that. that manifestations will happen real quick, okay? Real quick. Mine are happening real quick. So if there's any inkling of a fear that comes into my brain, my whole system falls. That's how my body works. Everybody's body is different, okay? So I have to really, really, really stay focused. What are the things that are actually what things could cause my mind to think more positive thoughts, okay? Since I'm energetically sensitive, what environments would actually really, really be a wonderful experience for me to be a part of? What people, what types of conversations would be really a great beneficial experience for me to be a part of? What movies should I be watching? What, you know, the movies thing is huge. I have so many friends who are like, I love horror films. I'm like, see ya. Cool. That's all you. I'm gonna go watch Bambi. Haven't seen it in a while. I'm gonna watch Bambi. Go watch Moana. You know? So we're sensitive to our environments, and this is actually a scientific thing, epigenetics, Dr. Bruce Lipton, all these things. So if we know that that is fact, so we want to pay attention to what our environment is, okay? If your environment's messy, mine's a little messy, I'm going to clean my house after this. So I want to make myself feel better. But I've also been feeling kind of unmotivated. Anybody else feeling unmotivated a little bit? Okay. There's, that's awesome, Susan. The unmotivated stuff, it's what I have found for myself, it's because I didn't really have a clarity with what I want to actually do. And I had to get real clear with what I want to do. I was getting so unmotivated that I was starting to go kicking myself and being really hard on myself because of how unmotivated I was. But now it's not just a matter of, getting hard on yourself. We have to also know that our bodies need a lot of rest and relaxation during these times. Again, everything's teaching us to love ourselves more, paying attention to when my body needs rest. When do I need to rest? What fuel do I need to put in my body? I'm refining my diet. I drink ionized water. Ionized water makes me feel great. I get about 6.5, 7 hours of sleep a night now, which is actually way better than it was because I started meditating twice a day again, okay? There's different things that you can do to balance and kind of play with this dial a little bit, okay? Practice this maybe. Maybe add this to your routine. Give yourself some sort of inspiration. If you're not doing anything and you're feeling unmotivated, just pick up a pen and write in your journal, I'm feeling so unmotivated that I'm going to write in my journal and write about your experience of what's going on. Acknowledge it. Okay? Nicole, this awakening process is not like flowers and petunias all the time, okay? It can be tricky, and it's a little bit more tricky when we don't have the tools, and that's why I've spent years going through this process and creating tools for myself to overcome, to actually move through them with a little bit more ease, okay? So, and that's a big part of what I do, okay? So there are tools out there that help people. Again, everybody's different. Everybody's got different things. Everybody's got a different, plate of food, so to speak, all right? Everybody's raised differently. Everybody has different ways of going about things. But here's the thing is that everybody has emotions. Everybody has a heart, and everybody has a mind, and everybody has a potential of really doing wonderful things. Okay? And it's within that that we're all unified, and it's within that that is becoming more obvious to people. Because you're going to find out that a lot of people, even though those ones that probably won't admit it, they're probably going through some stuff too. Okay? Not everybody is as open and transparent and communicative about their emotional process or their healing process. And we also have to respect that. Okay? But if you're a person that requires this sort of communication, find people that are actually good with it and that understand. If you're trying to talk to people about like, oh my God, there's an, like you just had like this, channeling of like the higher dimensional causal bodies of light, and you're like, and the person that you're with is going like, you're crazy. You may want to try to find somebody else who's actually supportive and nurturing and able to understand what you're talking about. Okay. And Jonathan, my awakening process, for me, as most of you guys know, the couple of years ago, when my brother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, I was in a relationship with a highly narcissistic individual, and I also had 11 people pass away in a very short amount of time. And that basically just cracked me open into acknowledging every little emotion known to consciousness itself. And it was very difficult, okay? But I had to feel it. I had to tap into it. I had to like really be with it. And I was still trying to run a business and help other people at the same time. I don't know, but I had to, but what's going to help is continued meditation. A lot of people get really stuck on the, I don't know what to do thing. I don't know where to start thing. Just go to YouTube. Go, do a search for grounding meditation. Here's the thing is that when we become present and when we allow ourselves, when you actually sit in meditation, you're actually showing yourself that you care about yourself, okay? When you eat good foods, you're actually showing yourself that you care about yourself. When you go exercise, you're actually showing yourself that you care about yourself. And your body receives the message that you are important, okay? That you are worthy of feeling good, okay? I've had some motivation, some lack of motivation in these areas myself. And so the only way is you can keep fighting it, but that's going to be more and more and more and more difficult the further you get away from it until you actually get off your butts and go do something. 5 minutes of meditation. Start there. You don't need to listen to an hour. In fact, if you're not an avid meditator, I recommend not doing an hour, because that's actually going to put you in a space of not being able to accomplish what you want to achieve, which will continue that voice of failure. I'm not good enough. So start small, make a little goal. I'm going to do 5 minutes of meditation this time of the day. Perfect. Get used to doing 5 minutes of meditation for 2 weeks, then increase it to 10. Then after 2 more weeks, increase it to 20. So you're actually expanding, you're actually developing a new inner self-dialogue of, hey, I did that. Hey, that's cool. Self-praise, you're changing the way that your internal clock works, your internal brain works. Because a lot of the things that people are moving out of, shame, self-doubt, victimhood, we don't want to do that anymore. What's going to help us feel better about ourselves? Okay. And Jonathan, you're bringing up something really good. Moving meditation, I'm specifically talking about close your eyes sitting meditation. Some people, I've noticed there's 2 different energy types with bodies. There's people that really do well, or where they need to practice being present. Okay. And the art of presence. the art of presence. And then there's other people that actually need to kind of go from the heart up. Empaths, if you start from the heart up, you're already airy-fairy. Your goal is to actually come into the body and embrace this reality and be present. Earth signs tend to be the ones that are very, very in their body, and where it would be very beneficial to go up from the crown up and receive higher light moving in. Okay. I highly recommend sitting rather than laying down, because your subconscious mind is pretty attuned to when you lay down, it's night-night time. Okay. Meditation isn't falling asleep. Granted, for the first week that I ever started meditating, I'd fall asleep and I'd go, oh, this is so relaxing. Like waking up like 20 minutes later with drool on my shirt and like in the classroom. Yeah. I'm actually going to be doing a, yeah, and part of this is it is a little bit of a self-discipline thing. Just adding it to your self-care routine. Okay. So, and if you guys, so then Jonathan, since you are so earthy, yes, a walking meditation may be a good thing for you. In terms of self-care routine, this is something that, I will continue to talk about, because I created this a long time ago, and it's my empath program. It is filled with meditations, downloadable hypnotherapy sessions to actually get your subconscious mind in alignment with your meditation, creating a self-care routine, and understanding all this information I'm talking about for people when they start going through the awakening process who need help. Okay, it's on my website. Take advantage of it. It's not expensive. Okay, there's all these different tools out there. Pay attention to what makes you feel good, what feels right, what feels truthful. So much going on. Okay, but we need to break away from what's going on and allow ourselves to be us. As energetically sensitive people, we get caught up in everything that's going on. But when you get caught up in everything that's going on, you are not yourself. You are you're the multitude of everything that is wrong. You are not wrong. You're just not allowing yourself to detach and to become present into that state of, I don't have to own that. That's not mine. That's personal power. Okay? I just had to go through this again myself. We get refined. We refine our process. The process may return, or a different lesson may return, but we get to refine it. We become better at it. Tap into faith. If you hate faith and you're taught that faith sucks, it may be time to understand that that belief doesn't work for you. It may be faith that actually pulls you out of it. Faith has been my guiding light. I never used to have it. I used to drink it away. I used to snort it away. What faith? I was never taught with any sort of faith. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about personal faith. I'm talking about faith and understanding that there's something better for you. Faith that means what would be the benefits of just adding something simple and small to your daily routine that includes your heart, your mind, your body. Adding that to your routine a little bit every day. I'm not talking about like once every week, once every 2 weeks, like, oh, I got yoga on my weekends and then I'm going to go have martinis. No. My favorite thing to look at is like when you go to the gym, everybody's watching Fox News. I'm like, that is the most ironic thing. It's like, here you are trying to exercise, raise your frequency and feel good, but yet here's this fear, here's this fear, here's this fear. Fear suppresses. Fear keeps people suppressed. So of course, media is going to make fear readily available. Okay? So we have to unplug. Okay? So yeah, the faith thing is really important. I didn't have much faith. And when, I drove home drunk and I didn't realize that I'd driven home, that was a miracle. And that was the first time like I realized miracles truly, truly, truly existed. Like really did. And that I was a miracle. And if I'm a miracle, well, the only thing that was not allowing me to see it was the fact that I was poisoning my body all the time. Okay, and that was creating separation, which allowed me to tap into fear. And when I tapped into fear, there was no such thing as faith. When there's no such thing as faith, we're in the mind. The mind makes everything feel really separate. This is what they call separated consciousness. We're moving into the place of duality, non-duality, pardon me. The Christed essence of the Christ heart. I'm not talking about church. I'm not talking about, Jesus who's, on the over there. I'm talking about Christ consciousness. Okay. Christ is an ascended master. Same with Buddha, same with Lao Tzu, same with Kuan Yin, same with Saint Germain. Okay. Christ consciousness, that aspect of unification, loving, acceptance, nourishment, healing, embracing. Okay. So faith, I'm not talking about like, hey, go to church. I'm talking about what can you have faith in? What can you be inspired by? What inspires you? What is that interconnectedness between you and all of your social circle? What is the thing that makes you go, ooh, 11:11? Okay? We're talking about the wanting, the deep yearning to want there to be some sort of interconnected magic out there that I know all of you deeply desire and are knowing and or possibly knowing that it's very true. We can live a magical life. The magical life is much more obtainable if we're not held back by fear and suppression, worry, and all that stuff. Okay, as I noticed this morning, when I went into that little fear state, it was like everything was far away from me. And it was scary. It was very scary. And I've been going through little dips like this, and it's like, no, I just can't. It's like, just like when you're stopping drinking, you can't drink another drink because it's just like the pot of water is still boiling. Fear is a boiling pot of water. So if you're so good at understanding fear, then we need to start looking at what's the opposite of fear? Safety. How do I feel safe? Self-love. By loving yourself. By doing things that benefit you, that make you feel good, that achieve an inner personal faith within you, that expand that and bring forth a new wave of energy into knowing that you're safe, that you're taking care of yourself. You don't have to be reliant on other people if you go within. Okay? There's it's been a very, very interesting couple of weeks for me. Sometimes I wish I could just like show everybody what is happening in my little brain and how I'm receiving new information. That's another thing. Your psychic abilities are tapping in and becoming more explored, and you're going to start noticing that new heightened levels of sensitivities in different ways are actually turning on. Okay? And for people that do not know about psychic awareness and psychic abilities, this can be a little freaky. Okay? So go join a psychic awareness class. Go look on YouTube. Again, there's a lot of crazy stuff out there on YouTube too. Okay? There's a lot of videos. I have a YouTube channel. If you guys aren't aware of that, it's Danny Picard Inspires. Lots of videos on all these things on there. Okay? So, but this was the whole thing that happened to me when I snapped out of the heavy drugging and heavy drinking, was that I received a message saying you have to develop programs for people who are going through the awakening process. And I was like, what? Okay. And yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. And I already know I'm able to scan my clients before they even reach out to me. Okay. Um, and what else is happening? I get an image of like a screen right here with all sorts of information. Um, I'm starting to hear angelic hymns like choirs in my mind and my meditations. Um, I am very connected to the galactic aspects of consciousness. Um, and but what's really cool is that I don't feel anybody's pain anymore. So that's cool. I see it, I observe it. I react to it in a different way than I did. I should probably say that. So acknowledging that my own inner safety, my own little area has brought me to this place of understanding that I need to develop a curriculum, coaching programs, and all this for people who are going through awakening. Okay, with many, many, many different integrated modalities. Where my dream a long time ago was to create a center for spiritual development and energy medicine school that incorporated training, the developmental processes of assisting people, everybody from doctors, nurses, to anybody and everybody, because we're all human. There's nothing that differentiates humans. Not the color of your skin. We all have hearts. We have eyes. We have, not everybody has eyes, but, but there's no separation. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on where people are liking to not be separate, but then creating labels which create further separation. So it's very kind of crazy. Got rid of a random demon. And I don't give the D word any power. There's a reason for that. I want my angels around. I believe in lower vibrational thought forms or lower vibrational patterns that may be represented in the mind as something as though a D word. But I don't like giving the D word power. Okay? It'll be very rare that I ever use it because I just don't want it around. Okay? I do want my environment to be a more positive one. I understand that I have different aspects of myself that are purging. And so I'm going to focus on how protected and safe I am and how loved I am. But my protection and safety is going to come from my own self-love and self-care. So, and thus, raising your frequency so where you're attracting a reality which is no longer in alignment with that of what the D word was, but now you're attracting something that's much better. Okay? So, and that's called self-empowerment. So now as you move into a place of self-empowerment, as you raise your frequency into a place of much more self-love, you're going to create a reality that's much more harmonious. It's going to be much more beautiful. It's going to be a much more beautiful thing. You're going to be able to see and be a part of things that are much more awesome. Okay? The self-saboteur has been coming up for me. Self-saboteur has been coming up. That little old aspect, that little boy in me that wants everything to be safe has been coming up. Anybody else? Little self-sabotagey? Little self-sabotage? Okay. Let's look at self-sabotage and what self-sabotage is. It's your subconscious mind wanting to protect you about moving forward in some sort of weird little sneaky way. Because it wants you to be safe. So let's think that little self-sabotaginess of you going, wait, you're growing and expanding really big, and then we want you safe, so don't accomplish anything. Just continue to be hard on yourself. And then you'll feel all excited to do it again. You'll be like, okay, I'm feeling motivated. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to feel so excited. I'm going to, no, wait, you're getting too big. You're doing too many things, and we're just going to drag you back down with some self-doubt. And so you're continually going, Anybody experience that ever? Mm-hmm. So trying to stay in love, you don't have to stay in love, but you know what? Love the lessons that you're being taught. You know, sometimes we don't know the lesson until we move through it too. So be patient with yourself. You know, and that's kind of the thing, is like a lot of people think that we have to stay in a positive frequency, but it's really hard to stay positive if you haven't sorted all your shit out. If you still got some weeds hiding in the backyard, if you never forgave your mother, your father, and you're trying to be positive, that's like you're trying to skip a few steps. You know what I mean? I want to be happy, but you know what? Let's just forget that I did all that stuff in the past, and let's not ever resolve that or had to go through it. Acknowledge the pain that you had to go through. Go, you know what? Hey, pain, you taught me a good thing. Thank you. Pain, thank you for letting me know that I can release you now. I'm going to love the hell out of you because you made me a stronger person. Pain, your vulnerability was so sexy, so sly. I don't know why you caused me so much pain. But I learned from you, and now I can move forward. I can hold myself accountable and feel in a forgiving space and be like, yo, I got places to go. Okay. Yeah, stop fighting. Yeah, stop fighting. And that was the thing, when we get into that fear space, we start fighting. Violet Flame, YouTube. Go listen to Violet Flame, Transmutation, Spiritual Alchemy, Saint Germain. The abilities and powers working with light frequencies to transform, transmute, and shift lower density frequencies into a higher state of consciousness aligned with the heart. Mic drop. Boom. Okay. So, and if you guys are interested, I actually have a hypnotherapy session that's integrated with Saint Germain, with the Violet Flame. It's transmutation, forgiveness session. If you guys are interested and you'd like to have it so you can listen to it repetitively to help get you out of the stuck space, PM me and I'll send it your way for a donation. If you want to donate $30 to $50 for this hypnotherapy session that I made just for these things, PM me. I'll email it to you, and shoot me a donation to my PayPal, which is, I'll put it in the comments down below. Okay. So, and here's the thing, is that the spectrums are only actually existent because there's still that perception of separation. But if you move into your heart space, unification becomes truth, and love becomes, the filter in which we look through. Okay, so separation and spectrum doesn't really, happen in a state of being heart-centered. It's called the place of non-duality. So there's no non-duality, this, that, up, down, positive, negative. Everything just is. Okay. Everything just is when we're in that place of non-duality. Okay. So, but the things that I want to kind of just point on is that things are going to be doing this, and they're going to continue to do this until we start clearing out these things. Everything's teaching us how to love ourselves. The more we get into that as being our foundation. Okay, if everything's teaching us how to love ourselves, then we have to create our own manuals. How do I love myself? Maybe you haven't written out a way to love yourself. Maybe we don't know how. That's okay. I'm still working on mine, and it changes. I have a lot more tools than most people, but it is a continued thing. Okay. So how do you love yourself? How can you love yourself? I don't have chaotic energy. The energy that's chaotic is outside of me. Self-care is the answer, Nicole. Loving yourself so you rise above the, quote, chaotic energy that's no longer, it's not yours. Okay. People have a hard time understanding that until they get to that point where you start forgiving yourself and focusing on self-forgiveness to where you actually raise above the shitstorm. Okay. you don't have to be a part of the shitstorm. You need to break away from the shitstorm and start loving yourself so you know you are not a part of the shitstorm, and make love to the chaos. Wow, look at how fucked up shit is right now. That's kind of crazy. This must be because a lot of things are purging. Because it no longer resonates in this new paradigm of high frequency love and light and energy that's coming in. So it's crumbling because it has no place being here anymore. Okay. So, anyways, my self-care program for people who are energetically sensitive, need to break away and learn meditation techniques, as well as hypnotherapy. My website, theepichuman.com. If you guys are interested in that recording, the Violet Flame healing session, PM me. I'll send details there. But yeah, check out my website, theepichuman.com. I leave to Egypt. I'm going to Egypt in less than 10 days. Ooh, good question. Danny Riha. How do you love yourself and not become self-centered? Coming off as pompous and arrogant and cocky has always been one of my biggest fears. And for me, yeah, it's very true. And it's funny because even sometimes I'll have little wisps of like, oh God, did I just sound like a cocky jerk? You know? But I also had to understand that I give to myself, I love myself so I can increase my capacity to give to others. If that makes sense. I don't give to myself in order for me to fly away and leave people in the dust. I think that's the main difference. Oftentimes, even if I have people coming over to my house, I'll clean my house just because I have people coming over. But do I actually do it on my own accord? Not always. People have always been a motivator of inspiration for me. I'm trying to get better with how do I nurture and take care of myself because I want to. That's been a big, big, big thing in my life right now, and something that I'm really trying to really integrate. Yeah. A lot of my self-care practices, the reason why I do so much of it, if I wasn't doing videos like this and doing all these things, I'm sure a 20-minute long meditation every day would be fine. But I often work with 2 or 3 clients a day, plus doing videos, plus doing a lot of back of the house type of work and phone calls, and trying to create my future and manifest things and whatnot. So I have to, I do so much meditation and self-care that when I tell people how much I do, they go, what? Do you live at all? I do. Trying to do more of it. And that's actually why my goal moving forward is actually to, travel, I want to travel, help people around the world. I want to go meet other healers. I want to go help other people around the world. I want to go join in and do different conferences. I want to go sit beside some of the favorite, other spiritual teachers that I admire, and offer my 2 cents as well. In terms of how do we give people the facilities, the tools, the applications of doing it, rather than just talking about being positive, rather than just talking about ascension. People talk about, oh, you need to be positive, be positive. It's really hard to be positive and make a difference, or to want to make a difference, or to feel motivated to make a difference in other people's lives if you don't have the energy to do it. If you don't have the energy to do it and you're trying to help other people, that creates anxiety. So this is why self-care is really important. Yeah, so Danny, I hope that answered your question. And thank you for saying that, because, sometimes I'm like, wait, did I come off as being a jerk? Um, and so that's always something that I kind of like in the back of my mind, kind of keep in check, is that, do I come off as self-centered? I, I've always been so turned off by people that, it's all for them, it's all for them, it's all for them, and they don't give back. Or they take, 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 take. It's not my style. I like giving. I'm a generous person. I like giving. I like making the world a better place. And I realize that I can make the world a little bit better of a place if I meditate a little bit more, or if I take care of myself a little bit more. If I'm in shambles and I don't pay attention to myself, ain't nobody's gonna get help. Not for me. Not for me. So, yeah, I've become a little bit of a snob in the need for my self-care. Um, yeah. And, I think it's really about kind of like what's your intention, and to know that everybody's intentions are really knowing that humanity is actually a good place. What makes it seem awful is the news and a lot of things like that, you know. Turn off your news. Earth becomes a nice place once you turn off the news. Just like that, But then people say, "Oh, you're not being responsible because you're not watching the news and staying current on events." And I'm like, "Well, actually, I'm being as responsible as I can, because now I'm in charge of myself and the energy that I convey without any weird filters or programs of fear going into my system. I'm in charge of that. And because of that, I have a more clear filter that I can educate people with. And I can make a greater difference because I'm not emotionally affected by the pain and drama, which is designed for us to be installed with fear mechanisms. So we are continued to be suppressed and continued to ride in that chaos state. Rise above it, make love to it. Turn off your TV, okay? Go watch Bambi, Moana. So, anyways, I love you guys. Visit my website. And yeah, things are ramping up here soon. Lots of behind the scenes things taking place. Subscription website coming. Subscription website coming that will have all these different programs available to you, but also some good, really, really exciting things happening. I'll be in Egypt December 12th through the 27th, and I will be able to be in Egypt during winter solstice and Christmas. And I am so beyond blessed, and I'm so excited for what's going to happen to me personally during that trip, and what information I'm going to receive while there, and all these different calibrations while I'm there. So, yeah. And after that, it's going to be quite fun. So, anyways, I love you people very, very much. Please check out the website, theepichuman.com. There's lots of resources there. Under meditations, there's downloadable files for you to download